Hi, David from PDI. In a previous video, I talked about wiro binding for the training industry, wiro binding, and pointed out that the reason why it's the most common is because it lies flat and very useful in a training course where you're trying to write on the item. And this is the most common form of binding. Costs typically 60 pence to £1 to wiro bind. I give a range because it depends whether it's this sort of size wiro or that sort of size wiro. You don't have to worry about that. We can find the size of the wiro depending upon the number of page counts. We have a little tool that does that. But I also mentioned in that previous video the subject of these, the ring binder. Second most common form within the training industry. Again, the issue is that it lies flat so that you can, when you're opening your pages, you can write within them with your convenience. The other advantage of a ring binder is the obvious one in that you can insert into the ring binder so that candidates can actually put their own notes, punch and put them in. But also we find, I don't know if you can see there's a tab set on there. The other way that they used is that quite often training companies will send the ring binder and module 1 and then subsequently supply module 2, module 3, module 4. Just be careful to make sure that your binder is big enough to hold all the modules, not just the first one. Different types of ring binder. I keep waving this one around. The first thing to notice is this distance. So we talked about 60 pence a pound for a wiro. You're probably talking somewhere between £3 and £5 for a standard ring binder. They come in different sizes, starting at about 15mm. This is the most common, it's a 25mm. That's the thing that determines it, that's the distance, 25mm, but they go 40, 50, or even 65mm. Start to get really big. So different sizes, and the price varies accordingly. These are the most common that we use. I don't know whether you can see that. It's a white standard 4-ring binder. We tend to always go for 4 rings. 2 rings are available, but they're not great. They just the pages tend to move around a lot. But this is a standard binder. And you'll notice that it's printed. Actually, it's not printed. And here's the clever bit. These binders come with a plastic pocket. So what we can do is we can print a card insert. And once it's inserted with those on there, it looks like a personalized binder. And it's not just the front. There's also one down the spine because there's a pocket on the spine. And so we print covers and spines to make it look like a branded ring binder. You don't have to do that. You can print the binder. So here's a printed binder. I waved this one earlier. This is a 50mm. And as well as this, yeah, they can be very nice. A lot more expensive, of course. It's not just the expense though. You really got to be looking at a minimum order quantity. Probably starts at 100 binders, but even that's quite expensive. If you're looking at 250, 500 binders, it starts to get a bit more competitive, but minimum is 100. The other thing, not a ring binder, but another way of presenting is through one of these, which is through a box. The advantage of a box, and it is just that box, is that you can either place a ring binder within it or a wiro or loose leaves, and it just gives you that little extra. Now this one, I don't know whether you can see that, is made of corrugated board. You can get them in plastic, although the plastic ones tend to be out of fashion at the moment just because they're plastic and nobody likes using too much plastic, and they can come with a handle on the top. Again, you've got to be looking at quantities. I wouldn't recommend to anybody wanting to get hold of less than 250 or 500 of these, otherwise the unit cost will just get far too high. So there you are, the alternative to the wire bind, the ring or the box. Thank you.